good sort of like moment that I was like, that's real. And I had like sent it to a few other folks, and they're like, started asking questions.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what? Let me bring them on, and then maybe we can all have a conversation about it, you know?
I was like, you got me quick, too. You were like, hey, today, can you talk?
Today.
Like,
So welcome, everybody. We're just getting started. So, so today's going to be a fun combo because it's 2020, and I think that relationships are something that need to be evaluated. Like for work, I just had like the performance review, you know, like they go through your whole year, and I did like really well. So I was like, this is good, you know, and then like, you know, I went to the doctor, you know, like checking off the list, and I think what
check
people
it all out.
forget to,
Got to get it
right,
all checked out. Yeah.
Right, and I think what people forget to do oftentimes is they forget to check first themselves, like how am I doing energetically, how am I doing spiritually, how am I doing emotionally, and then what relationships are affecting my, you know, my energy space. So that's why I thought it was a great idea to bring you on. It's the perfect month. I'm trying to like get all the big ones out this month.
I know, wow.
Yeah.
You're putting me in
so
front of the gun.
Tell me about yourself a little bit so that we can all know who you are. And
okay, now here's the crazy part about this. I've been doing this for about 15 years. Because you can probably tell by the gray hair, I'm not just the Instagram hangout dude.
No.
I've been doing this for about 15 years. I have cool. That's my wife. See that picture right there? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's my wife. We were love at first sight. I met her. We didn't date. We didn't do any of the things, the traditional things of relationship. We got married. We were also a long distance relationship because I lived in Atlanta. She lived here in Baltimore. And my actual job is I pastored for about 27 years.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't your normal bird. I have an organization called Higher Standards Organization. Matter of fact, on 9 o'clock from 9 to 9:30, Monday through Fridays, you can see me on there. I do a spiritual divine perspective where we talked about the relationship between church and practicality. We have kind of taken it to the other side. And together we have an organization called the Art to Connection. We connect, we do couples retreats, singles retreats, where we just take you in kind of intensive though.
That sounds intense already.
Right.
That sounds too intense.
Yeah, we're intense. We get intense. Yeah. You know, stop blaming everybody, blame yourself, look at yourself, yada, yada. So that's pretty much it. I have 6 sisters. I'm the only boy. I'm the oldest. Matter of fact, one of my sisters is upstairs making fajitas now.
Wow. I have a lot of perspective from 6 months.
Well, I know. I told them, I said one or two things. I mean, they're very good with women or very gay. So since I'm not homosexual, I guess I'm very good.
You know what? You're very real. That's so true.
I'm trying to be honest because
that's true.
Being in the church environment, being in the church environment, you get narrowed down. But when I kind of stepped away and start taking a perspective look, that's why it's called divine perspective. And I realized we have not walked in a spiritual place as a body, as a generation, as a church for a very long time. So I started learning how to walk spiritually. And when you learn how to walk spiritually, you learn how to allow people to live their life and walk their walk.
And walk their walk.
Exactly. Yep. And that's what I learned. So that's what happened when I got on Express. She was asking me some questions about relationships. And now I've actually
it all came pouring out.
Right. And all of a sudden I went from like 1,500 to from 500 people to like 1,000 people following me and questions. Hey, what are you doing? I got questions. Yeah. And I said, you know what? I guess that was my moment. I guess that was that moment.
It was. Yeah. I mean, that's how I found you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Then I got you. So
yeah.
That's it.
No, thank you first of all for that. Because I'm always like being as the connector of a lot of things in people, right? Okay. And I'm always it's always important to me that when we're having dialogue, especially within our community spaces, that we don't only hear the Black female perspective, but that we also hear the Black male, which I'm also very big on, like trying to get that dialogue going, because I do feel that a lot of women, unfortunately, don't have someone that they could just like ask questions to and talk to in a safe space without it being like, So thank you for coming on. Thank you for tell your wife thank you for sharing you with us, with the rest of the, the community, things like that.
She better be watching. She might be able to watch a movie or something. Like, hey, husband's on Instagram. Get on Instagram, kid.
Get on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah. So I wanted to get ready to it. So I have a bunch of questions. Like I said, I got into some DMs. Yeah, so I'm going to, ask a few, and then maybe some people that join will pop up and ask us a few as well, but I'll just start out with the conversation right out. So it's 2020, and the number one question I got is, how do I attract, maintain, and evolve with the right partner? So a lot of people that are, just so you have a target range, we're talking about like all 30s, like 30 to 39 is like the range of, because it was 3 people specifically that were asking, they were like, that's the age that I'm asking the question. Whether it's that they've been through multiple relationships, didn't work.
Right.
Divorcee, maybe second marriage, trying to figure out what's going on with that. And then another situation is just single, career, wants kids, but doesn't know the right partner, because that's a whole thing.
I have a question.
So it's not.
What is your actual name?
I'm Sharice. Oh, I didn't say that. I'm kidding. I am Sharice. Yes, that is my actual name.
I'm like, should I call her Beauty? Should I call her? What's her?
People do, but no, Sharice is my name.
Hi, Sharice. How are you?
Hi.
I'm William. Most people call me Dallas because my name is William Dallas. I'm not Higher Talk. So I just wanted, okay, so Sharice, now, are you finished your question? Because I want to go ahead and...
I am. Okay. That was.
I do have a question now. For those of you that are watching, and for Sharice, if I any way step on anybody's toes, I'm not trying to. I would never disrespect her show. I believe that, you get that. But I have to give you exactly what I think is. Number one, and as I teach, there's 3 dimensions of life. There's the spiritual dimension, there's the mental dimension, there's the physical dimension. Now, while I'm saying that to answer the question, spiritual dimension means I connect to God in whatever way I connect to the God. Mental dimension translates what happens spiritually and reports it to my body. So you have to have a solid spiritual dimension, have to have clarity of mind, and you have to have obedience of body. Okay. How do I attract? I've heard the law of attraction, but there's 2 things that you have to realize when it comes to attraction. What attracts is a spiritual thing, and what's spiritual is the authentic you. We tend to put on a lot of things that make us something else because we're trying to attract a specific kind of person.
Ooh.
So when we attract that specific kind of person and they don't see the authentic us, they in turn get a little disappointed, or they now got to reshuffle because they realize that I'm not the person, you're not the person, we're not the person that I presented.
Right.
The other thing you have to do in that space is you have to become a little bit more open, and not open as an open, but you got to realize that there's something called cottage love. That means you live in an area, you never moved out of the area, so you then attract and deal with that area. So at that point, you don't have choices, you have options. Now, the difference in choices is if you go all over the world, you got a choice. But if you stay in Baltimore all your life, you just have options. You're not going to have the dude with the dreads or the dude without the dreads. Right. So how do you attract? Number one, there has to be an authentic you. That authentic you is the person that I act like, the person that I talk like, and the person that I live like.
Right.
That person is the person that attracts. They will attract. Okay, you're catching the questions. I don't have to read them, right? Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm catching them.
Okay. Yeah. You don't have to act. That's the first thing. How do you maintain that? 2 spiritual people that come together have to have 3 things. They have to have something they always do physically. And that could be sex or da-da-da. I'm going backwards. There have to be something they do mentally, and there have to be something they do spiritually. Whether it's pray, do yoga, because that gets me to connect spiritually.
Right.
And the final thing, because this could be for hours. I do this.
No, yeah.
Right. The final thing is have a goal for the future together. I do couples conferences, but my wife and I do couples conferences. Why? So we both have something we can pour into. We both have something we can get out, and it begins to help us see each other, because I see how you are when we're together, and I see how you are. So those 3 things: be spiritually authentic to yourself. Number 2, have some type of spiritual connection. Number 3, do something together, build something together. Have a 5-year plan of we're going to buy a house later, or we're going to go to Hawaii. Build something together instead of building, because we tend to build things. That's my checking account. That's your checking account. That's my house.
Right.
That's my house. Build something together. And let me kind of throw in a side note. If you can, try not to move into one person's house or the other.
I totally deny.
Right.
That's just me, though, yeah.
Don't try not to move into his house. Try not to move in her house. Try to buy something together, because every once in a while, in that angry moment, you can just get out of my house.
I have actually heard that with a few friends that have had that such cohabitation, and everything's fine until an argument comes. And one time in the situation, a friend, they were just like, you know what, this is my place. You can just go.
Right.
And he was
exactly.
he's like blown away that he even said that.
Yes.
Because I do agree. There's something about
it is that. So those are pretty much, and that's a really broad for specific people, like for yourself. And I'm going to take this liberty because you're first and this is your show.
Yeah.
Your challenge is going to have to be somebody that supports what they see in you. Not what you are, not what you're doing, but what they see in you. Because right now you're in a creative space. And if they're coming in and they're jealous because people like you, people are attracted to you, it's not going to work. And that's what you're going to get.
That's so funny that you pinpointed that one.
I do this for a living.
One thing.
Yeah, I do this for a living. Yeah. And so your challenge would be, if it were possible, to deal with somebody that has their own thing, that has their own,
they have to have their own thing.
Exactly. And I don't mean their own job. I mean, they have to have a thing, because what you're doing now is going to take you places. And if they're stuck in a place where they can't go, all of a sudden that's going to be contingents in the family, because you're starting to grow, you're becoming popular, you're becoming the next Oprah Winfrey, and you follow me?
Reading my life.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm stopping.
You need to stop.
That's enough. Next question.
I love it. I love you for this. Okay. Let's get this one and we'll go back. What if God tells you someone is your spouse, but you aren't together yet? Ooh, I have had that question asked to me as well. What would you say? Want me to read it again?
Yeah. Oh, I heard you.
Okay.
But listen, I've heard that. I have some horror stories about that one.
Yeah.
Me. I've had, how many people have called me and said, the Lord told you my husband? Has he? Me. Yeah. Okay, come.
They're bold. That's bold. That's very bold.
Remember, I'm out of the church world, so the number of people is limited.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. No, you're right.
Yeah.
No.
So, anyway,
it's a different space. You're right.
If you guys are not together, first of all, you have to realize one thing about God. If God says something, he has the power to make it happen. We tend to hear something and go, oh my God, I believe that's what God says. And then we start trying to make it happen by being in position of how to make it happen and make things happen. You are to hear what he says, not enforce what he says. So if he says that, then the opportunity is going to present itself. Now, don't go hanging around the person, instead of like, hey, you need a new cell phone? Here.
Right.
Doing things to influence it, you mess it up. Because when he says something, you have to in turn allow whatever he's trying to get out of them, a change within them, let him do it. Once he does it, then you don't have to worry about it. Or otherwise, you have to do it. Now, for that, my wife, when I saw her, it was like I lost a best friend. It was like, oh my God, where you been? And so everything that happened because we didn't get married immediately. I went back to Georgia. We got married within over a 6 month period. We talked.
Got it.
24 hours a day. We never turned our computers off for 6 months, but we talked about every issue possible that came up in our minds. Why? Because you have to realize there still had to be an evolution of change, because she went from being single and I went from being single to come to be together in another place. So if God said it, you got to make sure he does it, because if not, you'll interrupt the person's flow, and now you got the person that's kind of half-baked. When you get the cake and it looks beautiful on the outside, but it's
I like that advice.
So that's my advice to that one.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we have, what advice do you have for a single millennial person? What was our question?
I have no idea.
How do you, no, I'm just reading.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. How do you, okay. What is your advice to single millennials on how to better develop themselves to be a part of a coupleship?
Oh, that's my favorite question. Because all the people that I have around me, they say, well, I'm getting ready for my husband. I say, well, how do you get ready for your husband? Oh, I'm learning how to cook, and I'm learning how to clean, I'm learning this, I'm learning to do this. And Sharice?
Yes.
Right? Okay, making sure I'm saying it right, because I'll call you Sean in a minute. Sean, So, Sharice, I'm so glad. Every millennial woman, I need you to hear me very, very closely.
And millennial, you need to talk to the men too, because I feel like,
You know what? But I'm going to talk. I'm going to address both of them. Both of them. So every millennial woman, hear me. Stop learning how to cook. Stop learning how to clean. Stop learning how to clean house. Oh, hear me? Hear me. Because I'm going to tell you something that my wife told me.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so stop learning how to clean the house and stop learning all that stuff. I know your mother said it, your mama's mama, your mama's mama, your mama's mama. Now, for you, especially Sharice, especially for you, the reason I say that is because if you are a millennial, the access to money and growth and success is a lot easier than it was in our time. So that meant I would be successful and my wife may not be successful. So I'm somewhere doing something and she's at home or vice versa.
Right.
But in the millennial time, you have to do this. Learn how to be one with someone. Why? Here is the deal. Okay, so Sharice decides to learn how to clean house. She's the best housekeeper in the entire world. She meets the next guy. They both meet the guy. They become famous. Yeah. They're millionaires. All the things all the things you just learned have absolutely nothing to do with your relationship now.
I got you. No, I got you.
Now, am I saying not to learn those things? Don't make those things reasons to get married. Why? My wife knows how to cook, but my wife doesn't cook. But she knows how to cook. And that's not a thing for me. Now, on the millennial side, this thing is killing me. I'm kind of old-fashioned in this situation. The thing that a man needs to learn how to do is to lead. Now, not leading. Here's the thing we've been taught. We've been taught leading according to control. But we are supposed to learn leading according to example. Wow. That's the challenge that most people have. They go, I'm the man, do what the man says. No, the voice of the man, remember, of the grind, and vice versa.
Got it.
Because that kills a lot of jealousy, that kills a lot of separation, a whole lot of things. But then if you got to know them spiritually, though.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Let's get this question before it scrolls out. Do you believe that couples counseling can... Oops, hold on. This is from... Let me scroll back. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Do you believe that couples counseling can help a couple reconnect, and save a relationship? And if so, how long for it to work?
Yes, I believe in couples counseling, especially if you're using my couples counseling now. The key to couples counseling is, and unfortunately, no disrespect, because I've only met a certain amount of couples counselors, so don't kind of blanket this. The key to couples counseling is they deal with one of two of the three areas. They don't deal with all three. If you go to church, they deal with mental and spiritual. If you don't go to church, they do it physical and spiritual. Nobody does mental, physical, and spiritual. I see very few of those. I had to learn to do that because everything is, you need to pray, let God help you and come together.
But there's a lot of issues that don't. I agree.
Exactly. And instead of going, I had to learn to say, okay, you need to pray. After you pray, y'all need to have a mental talk. After y'all have a mental talk, you need to go up and tear out the frame in the bedroom.
They don't say that stuff, but it's real.
Right, it's real because of us staying in those two areas, we talk mental and physical because of the church. We don't understand. Do you know how many different, and I'm going to probably take your show to a different places. Do you know how many different benefits there are to making love?
Yes.
There are, you probably do. But there are a number of them that we don't talk about because we're so busy trying to make sure, you know what, we're doing it one ear. Can you still hear me?
Right.
Yeah. We're so busy trying to do physical, mental and emotional. So, yes, couples counseling is good. Now, the second thing about that is it depends on what you guys have done that you need couples counseling to determine how long. Infidelity, that's going to take a minute. Am I doing this right?
Okay, that's real.
Yeah, but if it's just simply, if we're not getting along because we can't communicate, and that's that.
So there's levels. There's levels too.
So it depends on what you guys have done. And now I always think it's good. There always needs to be a third party. Always a third party. It should not be your girlfriend. It shouldn't be your best friend. It shouldn't be anybody that's on one person's side or the other.
Gotcha.
Plus, it needs to be somebody that is so totally biased that you start talking about child support, they go, yeah. Why? Why? Right. Because you got to understand, I'm not concerned about your relationship. I'm trying to work out my relationship. Now, you and Pookie didn't work out.
Right.
So you have to understand. So I think counseling is good. What I do think that should take place before counseling is, because that's what I believe a counselor needs to do, because I'm more of a mediator. Mm-hmm. I need you to talk because I need to know that thing that's in the back of your mind that you really needed to say, and you knew if you said it, You said it, he's going to scream or he's going to yell, he's going to go off. But you need to still hear it, whether you think he's going to go off. So, yes, I think couples counseling is good.
All right. So everyone that just, well, Steph, just asked that, but definitely follow at Higher Talk.
Yes, Higher Talk. Correct.
Higher Talk to learn more about couples counseling.
Yes.
Low plug, that's real. Okay, another thing. So I'm going to, commercial break.
Yeah.
Okay, can you start the work with yourself, meaning you and your significant other realizing that you want to reconnect, so you start to talk about the difficult things a few times a week?
Yes. Okay. This is a very long one, but I'm going to reduce it really short. Two things I advocate very much, and that's one thing is the fact of writing, and I advocate writing. So what you need to do is get a piece of paper, both of you separate from each other, write down 5 at a time. Don't write down all 372 of them. Write down 5 at a time of the things that you feel we need to discuss. After you write down the 5 at a time, here's where it gets sticky. You take yours, give him his, and you do it that way. Then you discuss your list while he knows your list is there. He can't say anything about it. He has to listen to everything the list has to say. Then you have to give him the freedom to say what's about the list. So yes, I believe you can begin that stuff. But most people, that's difficult to do. What I just said is difficult to do.
I can see that being difficult with all the,
Right, because you have to pull out the emotions. And no disrespect, Sharice, but as a millennial, you're basically like 5 years out of high school. A lot of those things.
I talk about this a lot. This show is predominantly millennials that watch it, and I talk about a lot of issues that I'm like, we need to grow up faster because we're so behind.
Right.
We are. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like, even me, like, I'm in my 30s, right? But like, I feel like kids and babies, and it's like all of me and my friends are just like, that's so far from us, but then if we don't plan it, then we won't. We're going to be like in our late 30s having babies. Like, it's going to happen. I don't know. I'm with you. We just got to like work harder, a little bit faster to like.
Well, the reason you guys have material, you guys have more information than we have.
Yeah.
You have.
But I think having more information has made us stagnant in a lot of things because of that.
You are good.
Right? Are we on the same?
We are like so together.
We're good. We're here.
A guy asked me, he said, what's the difference in the millennials and your generation? I said, we had just a belief. You have information. And I said, the problem that happens is with more information, it's more difficult to believe. Because there's always something that's going to rebuttal what you believe. With the belief, all the information is sifted through your belief.
Yes.
So if I believe in God through Christianity, whatever I hear comes through my belief. But if I don't believe if I have no belief, all my information will go, oh, yes, there's a God. No, there's not a God. He's a tree. No, he's not a tree. And so the key becomes get a belief system, stick with it no matter what people say. And when you do that, it helps you to mature because you can't be shaken by
anything that comes to us.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whoa, I literally thought you were 20. I know. I've looked the same since high school. It's terrible.
Seriously. I really, when you said over 30, I'm like,
Definitely.
Should I say something about that?
Definitely my 30s. Definitely past that decade. Yeah.
Wow.
But, I think it's genetics though. I think this might be
right.
Very young.
Because I'm 85.
Right?
I'm 85.
Okay, so I wanted to bring up something because there was a question. I'm going to jump that question to the front now because you brought it up, so I want to answer. One question is asked by a male. Okay. He said, is it okay to expect my girlfriend to do domestic things if that's what I want my wife to do?
No.
So he was questioning gender roles.
No.
No. Flat answer.
No.
Okay.
Would you like to why? No. Why?
Yeah.
Because the role of a role of a woman should be the explosion into the marriage. If you expect her to do this thing and anything happens, you now have her serving. She's giving commitment privileges to a non-committed person. If you want her to clean your house, marry her. Well, I'm not ready to get married. Then you're not ready for her to clean your house.
Good point.
Now,
there you go,
if she volunteers, horse of a different color. But to expect her to do it is it's a control mechanism because you're trying to test her in something that she should already have the position of. You right now on your show, Okay? I can't test you to see if you know how to get on Instagram and do the show.
Yeah,
A lot of
interesting.
people do that. We want to test them out for domestic. Again, domestic is not important. You hire somebody. I did this analogy one time. I said, here's the difference in a wealthy person, a wealthy woman, and a poor woman. I said, a poor woman sees a shoe in the middle of the thing. She trips over. She runs upstairs and tells her husband, why'd you leave the shoe in the middle? I can't believe you left the shoe. I said, a wealthy woman steps on the shoe, picks up the shoe, goes upstairs, looks at her husband and said, you need to make more money so we can hire somebody to pick up your shoes.
I love that.
You know what I mean? It's the difference because if domestic is it, don't test her through domestic action. Make so much money she doesn't have to do, because now you got her doing domestic action and I was going to make a Spanish name, but that'd be racist. So, but you got somebody cleaning the house.
That's good. No, I get you. I get you. I like that. Yeah.
No, not at all. Don't expect her to do anything. Clean your own doggone house.
And the follow to that one was is infidelity something that can be worked on after, or must you end the relationship?
Married, it becomes very difficult. If you are married, it becomes very difficult. And Sharice, you're probably going to never let me on your show again. But if you
don't say that. I love honesty.
I'm just messing with you. But if you are not married, infidelity is simply a question of how committed you are to me. If you are not in a committed relationship, it's not infidelity. I just slept with somebody else. Now, you're hurt. You're disappointed. Why? Because you were under the impression that we had more than we actually had. If we did have more than we actually have, there would have been no infidelity. Follow me? If I'm who I say I am, then there's no infidelity because I don't want anybody else. But if I slept with somebody else, I apparently was not as committed to this relationship as right now. Can it be fixed after that? It can be fixed, but it's going to take, for a man, if a man does it on a woman, he's going to have to ask her to forgive him for the first 17 years every day. Here's why.
Wow.
You have broken the trust factor of a woman. Remember, I don't know if you saw my show, I said men meet somebody they can believe in. Women look for somebody they can trust in. When you get married, you trust him to be the man that he said he was going to be. Not the man you want him to be, but the man he said he was going to be. And the moment he breaks that, you now have to go all the way back to the beginning and re-look at him as a man.
True.
So now you're you're re-looking at him as a man. And remember now, let's say you've known this man for 15 years. So all 15 years have to re-back. Now I got to go and reconstruct 15 years of knowing you. That's why I'm like, don't do it, dude. Do not do it.
And if it's a woman that was unfaithful?
If it's a woman, the horse is of a different color. The woman will have to stay close to the man because he's not emotionally based. So his trust has to be what he sees more than what he feels.
Got it.
In her case, she'd have to, if he wants you to be home at a certain time, you basically put yourself under control. Why? Because he has to see you. He has to now see you. He can't feel like it. He may call you. Why? Because he slowly has to build, remember, somebody he can trust in. He's got to slowly build the trust back. So it would be better if you just didn't do it. But if you did do it, two things you have to do. Like I said, ladies, just be there at his disposal. Be there at his disposal. Men, every day apologize. Apologize. You take a shower, apology. Apology. And men, and slowly rebuild. I was lying about 17. It takes, for every couple that I've dealt with infidelity, it takes about 2 to 3 years for them to really kind of re-maneuver. But it stays in the back of your mind. So if you're at work a little later, you got to say, hey, baby, I'm going to be at work a little bit later. Even if you have to say, even if you had to FaceTime me so I know that nobody's around. Because once that trust is there, now it's very sensitive. That trust is not as easy as it was before. Because now it's like, baby, go do what you got to do. Because, you know, I love you. You love me. Now it's like, I'm going with you. I got to go with you.
I love that. Thank you for that. Let's see. Let's get one more questions. I have 2 more, and then we'll do our taboo topic of the day.
Taboo? Wait, hold on.
Taboo.
You didn't send me the taboo topic.
No, because it's last minute. Like, what's going on in the world right now? It's about Prince Henry and Meghan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm cool. All right.
Okay. So wait, how long should you wait before dating after a breakup? This is back to relationships.
Men, a year. Women, a year and a half. Now, men, 9 times out of 10, depending on the level of the breakup, if you've really been into a person, I say a year. Now, to ask me the time is kind of external, but
Yes.
The reason I say a year is because you have to rebuild some things inside of yourself. You got to start to get to know yourself again, because a breakup makes you feel like I've done something wrong or what's wrong with me. So you got to rebuild yourself. With a woman, I tell her to be around positive women, maybe women that are married, women that have successful relationships. Why? Because she's got to realize that really a breakup has absolutely nothing to do with each person. It really has to do with a change of atmosphere. And there should be a lot more breakups, because we'll stay with something because I don't want to hurt his feelings. We'll stay with something because I don't want him to get mad, or we'll feel guilty. A breakup should go back to reconstructing. Go on a trip by yourself. Begin to understand the things that you enjoy about who you are and the things you love. Why? Because in that time, the next relationship should be based on what I love. It shouldn't be just a situation where he's sexy and I think he's going to be good in bed, or she's beautiful. It should be a situation where I want to live life, and I want to live my life with you. So I say a year, year and a half, depending on that. And that's no girls, no men. That's no relationship. That's just, hey, bad girl. That's no girl, no relationships, no serious relationships. Dating and all that kind of stuff. Don't put yourself in a position where you got to lay your feelings back on the wall.
Try that again. Got it. Yeah. Good. That was good.
Thank you.
I have. What's your advice for selecting your partner and dating in today's day and age? I think we touched a little bit on that, but
a little bit. My biggest advice is, number one, again, I say know yourself. The second piece of advice, I think I got a video on that. The second piece of advice is be honest. I'm so glad you gave me the show, because I want to touch on something. If you guys get this, take this and send it to everybody you know. Listen, if you want a man to know you, ladies, and you want him to honestly know you, and you are on internet, on Instagram, I'm going to sound so old-fashioned, Teresa. I'm going to sound so old-fashioned. But follow me all the way to the end. Follow me to the end. Don't follow me to the end. So if you are a woman that on the internet, you show butt and breasts, and you token and turking and working and all that kind of stuff, I don't have a problem with that. That's on you. But if you expect a man to see you beyond that, every once in a while, you need to go when you're having a date with that man and not have the breasts out and the legs out and the thighs out. Show him the person that you really are. Otherwise, he's going to expect a twerking person.
Of course.
A twerking person equals sex for every man. I don't care how you slice it. Well, can I find the man that's just a friend?
It's real.
Because you've never shown him the woman beyond the twerk woman. Now, same situation with a man. You sending DPs. You got the DP. Yeah, you sending DPs and showing her your chest and showing her all that kind of stuff. She doesn't take you seriously.
Right.
Why? She thinks that you want one thing, so it's going to hard for her. Now, all you want to do is do this to me. So in this day and age, first of all, be yourself. Don't be the persona you are on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever. Be yourself. If you got to put your hair up in a ponytail, be yourself. That helps that person that approaches you to see you for who you are, instead of they say, oh my God, my
persona.
Angela Bassett. I thought Angela Bassett was the most beautiful woman in the world till I got married, and then she's the second most beautiful woman in the world. So,
big fave.
So, but be yourself, number one, and number two, be open to do outside. Go other places. I lived in Atlanta all my life. Never met a wife in Atlanta. I come to Maryland, meet a wife in Paris. But follow me all the way to the end. Follow me to the end. Don't follow me to the end. So if you are a woman that on the internet you show butt and breasts and you token and turking and working and all that kind of stuff, I don't have a problem with that. That's on you. But if you expect a man to see you beyond that, every once in a while you need to go when you're having a date with that man and not have the breasts out and the legs out and the thighs out. Show him the person that you really are. Otherwise, he's going to expect a twerking person.
Of course.
A twerking person equals sex for every man. I don't care how you slice it. Well, can I find the man that's just a friend?
It's real.
Because you've never shown him the woman beyond the twerk woman. Now, same situation with a man. You sending DPs. You got the DP. Yeah, you sending DPs and showing her your chest and showing her all that kind of stuff. She doesn't take you seriously.
Right.
Why? She thinks that you want one thing, so it's going to hard for her. Now, all you want to do is do this to me. So in this day and age, first of all, be yourself. Don't be the persona you are on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever. be yourself. If you got to put your hair up in a ponytail, be yourself. That helps that person that approaches you to see you for who you are, instead of they say, oh my God, my
persona.
Right. Angela Bassett. I thought Angela Bassett was the most beautiful woman in the world till I got married, and then she's the second most beautiful woman in the world. So,
Good save.
Yeah,
Good
I know,
save. Good
so, but be yourself, number one, and number two, be open to do outside. Go other places. Go other. I lived in Atlanta all my life. Never met a wife in Atlanta. I come to Maryland, meet a wife in Maryland.
Interesting. Yeah.
So you have to be open to that. But number one, be yourself. That I can't stress that enough, because I know young lady. Matter of fact, I know a young lady right now that I could probably pull up. She was a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
A dancer.
Oh, a dancer.
A dancer.
Yeah.
She was a dancer, and she met me one time, and she said, how do I meet somebody? I said, well, first of all, if you're not dancing because you want to dance, stop dancing. So she stopped dancing.
True.
And when she stopped dancing, all of a sudden, that you see that says watching Uncle William there?
Yeah.
That's my wife.
Hi.
Oh, wait a minute. That was the Angela Bassett comment. You said that. You saw the Angela Bassett comment. That's what.
Yeah.
But I told her, I said, stop walking around like you were still on the pole. Walk around like you. So she put on her sweatpants and her that, and she met somebody.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because make that a job.
Yeah.
If it's I can't agree with or disagree because I don't know your life. But let that be a job. Let that be your life and your persona.
Yeah.
And be honest with the person. And not so honest. Don't be blatant out. I got 5 kids. I hate dogs. No, but gradually allow them into the life as they earn it. Every position in your heart should be earned. It cannot be requested. It has to be earned.
I love that. Okay. So all you guys listening, I will be posting it. So of course, if you're going to get these tidbits to hold on to.
She's going to start giving it to all the guys you know. See this? Do that.
Okay, I have 2 more. How do you find wholeness and resolve your issues in a relationship, or must you do it alone?
Alone. Always alone.
Ooh, I thought you were going to do it together. Okay.
Always alone. Now, let me rephrase that. Are you talking alone with yourself in comparison to with a opposite sex?
Yes.
Or are you talking alone with your girls and your guy? Okay. Never in a relationship, because remember, and this is going to be kind of deep, guys, and I know you can catch this. When you are with somebody, spiritually, you merge with anybody. Right now, believe it or not, Sharice and I are merging, whether it's spiritually ideas or we're merging. So if I'm with her trying to fix things and whatever she says to me to fix them, all of a sudden it inclines me to lean toward them because I'm trying to become whole. I'm trying to get a oneness. Oneness starts with prayer, spiritual game, same thing, spiritual, mental, and physical. It becomes understanding who you are and really being honest, looking in the mirror and going, okay, I really don't like long hair. I want to have short hair. Look, because everything that you have, that you really are, spiritually, God has somebody that is looking for that. Let me tell you a funny story.
Yeah.
I wear glasses to read. But the thing that as I was going through life and growing up and all those kind of things, the thing I loved more than anything else was a woman that wore glasses. And I asked my father, I'm like, why? What is this all about? He said, I don't know. Maybe it's an intelligent thing. So I'm with my wife and she doesn't wear glasses. She has all this wonderfully long hair. She's beautiful. And all of a sudden, one day she comes out and she comes around the corner and I'm in the living room and she has these wonderful glasses on and she has her hair done up and I'm in love with her all over again. I said, what are you doing? She says, I wear glasses. I'm going, are you in love with it? Would you marry me again like Friday? But anyway, so back to what so now you have to get to that. Why? Because you get down to the core of your person. The person you get to, the core person you get to. Now, from the core person, guys, you got your me place. Now, if you know the Bible, there's the outer court, the inner court, and the holiest of holies. In your life, there's the me place, the outer court, and the inner court and the outer court. So you got yourself together. You go, I like swimming. I like dogs. I like donuts. I like cookies. I like all these things. You know those things. You begin to build on those things. Now, this place is a raw place. This place may get you fat. It may make you sick. It may all those things. But once you allow somebody in the next level out, they look at the person you are, and they are, I like that person or I don't like that person. But if you put on a persona, you invite them to a closer place that they don't deserve. So you have to be by yourself. Now, around positive people, great. around your male friends that you honestly do not have any interest in, great. But as for anything that has an inkling of a relationship, you don't need to be there because it
So
will
you're
try to
saying you
incline.
can't, if you don't know yourself, you're saying you cannot be in a relationship in order to
Not a successful.
know yourself or figure yourself out more. You're saying.
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Okay.
Because
That's
now, I will give you foundational things. For example, my wife knows I'm a workaholic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the details of my workaholic are different. So I can say I'm a workaholic. I got that part. That's who I am. Now I can move out because I have some people, and you know your friends, they have no foundation of who they are. They move for everything till they got blonde hair. Tomorrow they got weave. The next day they got long nails. The next day, why? Because they have no foundation to say who they are. Even if you just come to the point and go, okay, I have come to a conclusion. I'm a queen. Now you present that persona as I'm a queen. But you just present the persona as something physical. I got a big butt, I got big breasts, I got big eyes. Same thing with guys. Guys go, I got money. That's all I got. I got money and a nice body. You don't know that you like that.
I've heard lots of that.
Right. Because nobody has come to a point to go, you know who I am? I want somebody that I can actually grow with.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where you're growing from. You can't make that comment because you don't know where you're growing from. So these things you have to come to a conclusion. Find out what you want. Go back to school. Do whatever you have to do. Find out what you want, and then build and allow people to see that person. And when they see that person, they make a decision.
That's so real.
Lady Dre.
I'm having you back on, like, another question.
I'm never come back on your show again because
you better come back on. Okay. Okay, the last one that I have was a fun one because it was something that it was like in the media a lot this week. So I don't know if you've heard of what's going on with the royal family, but essentially, do you know like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? Okay.
I wish I could have met them before they got married.
Yeah, they've officially stepped back or stepped down from their royal duties of being like basically like the next in line. Right. And it caused a big uproar because then everyone started talking about relationships. They're just like, I was listening to a lot of like the radio stations, then even on Instagram, it's just like people have very different opinions about it. Like, do you think it's right that he as a man basically chose his wife over his family? Do you think that's control? Another question that I got was, do you think that in relationships you should put your family, because they've been there with you, they've supported you, and you should be like, Meghan should be okay with it even if they made her uncomfortable? Like, so what are your thoughts in regards to, as a relationship person or in marriage, or not even in a relationship, in any context of what it is, or whether it's a marriage or just a committed relationship, do you think that it's right when someone basically chooses their partner or spouse over their family? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to call my wife. No. Honey, save me. Now she has me talking about the royal family. What is she doing? I'm texting her right now. No. There's a scripture in the Bible. I told you everything comes on the foundation of the Bible. The scripture in the Bible that said, husband should leave mother and father and cleave to the wife. Mm-hmm. Do I believe you should change, that she should let go of the family? I want to I'm going to ask a rhetorical question to you because I don't really want you to answer the question. Okay. One of the things I have had a challenge with is, what do we consider friendship? How do we handle friendship? The girls that's been with you now, okay, back to Sharice. I don't know your friends, so nobody's going to get mad with me. You got 5 friends. Your girls have been with you from thick and thin. They've been with you through the whole thing. Tomorrow, God calls you up and said, listen, I'm going to put you on a major television show. Mm-hmm. You got an NBC show. We're giving you $15 million to set your show up, but it's just you. You can't bring anybody else. Do you let go of that show or do you take the show? Now, that's rhetorical. 9 times out of 10, you take the show. But in today's society, because we have replaced love and commitment with friendship. Yeah. So we replace love and commitment with loyalty. Because you were loyal to me, that means you're committed to me. But that's not always the case. That's why you got people that have been with you for years. But there's a brother that was on a rap show. He said, remember, Jesus hung out with Judas. Mm-hmm. So what happens is in this process, you go, people that if you're down with me, I'm down with you. But that's not always a commitment for life, because down with me means I know that you need to make some decisions and change, and I know you have to make moves.
That's true.
And sometimes that's not the case. Some of the greatest hindrances are the people around you. because they feel like I've been there the whole time, but you've been there because you wanted to be there. Don't make me hinder my life because you wanted to be someplace and you want to be around me. Now, I'll help you, but I'm not going to lose what I have. So when you get married, that commitment should be so great that you're willing to live in a hut eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as long as you're with this person.
That's true.
Now, I did see this. I saw this from the Coming America. I denounce my throne. Yeah, that's how I'm like, who's denouncing that throne?
True.
So do I think he should have done that? Yes. Because we don't know the level of pressure that came.
Correct.
Because he may want to kiss his, because you can't hold hands, you can't do this. And he goes, look, I am in love with this woman. I want to hold her hand. I want to kiss her in public. I want to take her to places to denounce the throne for that. That's a little thing to do in comparison with having this great relationship. People will die to have a relationship like that. A man to say to you, I will give up everything for you. Everything. Now, of course, if she was like a real sister, she's like, whoa, don't give up.
They stepped down, right?
Yeah,
they
like,
stepped back. They stepped back. They didn't like completely, yeah. I think she was probably like, exactly.
Let it go. Can we just pause for a minute? Let's just go out of town and think about it. Right,
that's what they went to LA. Yeah, you're right.
Let's just go out of town and think about it.
Yeah.
And so, I don't think that was a bad decision. I think that was a great decision. Mm-hmm. Now, even if they because the pressure of me of me being married and the people around me and my ability to do relationships and all that kind of stuff, everybody talks about relationships. Yeah. So I go, and I'm glad my wife does travel. We go to these different, I told you we do these singles and these couple retreats. We're going to Cancun in September. We're taking couples to Cancun. So, if you got a couple dude, you need to come on, go with us. Anyway, you find somebody within that time, come and, hey, yeah, I got him. Yeah. First, you got to talk to him first. So they go away. So we had to go away and just no cell phones, no nothing. Because every time, man, I'm hanging out with this girl, I'm like, can I eat my donut? Is it wrong? Why are you talking about that? Now, imagine you're the royal. You're the dude. You're the next in line for the throne. You can't go sit down, buy her one rose and sit in the grass and watch and be romantic. Yeah. I would step back too. We don't know. We look at the fact of money.
Stephanie wants to go. You should go.
You should go, Stephanie.
Yeah. It's in September, you said?
It's September 16th to the 20th. We're going to Cancun. We're going to be there. But it's an intensive. Steph, don't go. It ain't no joke now. You're going to have fun. I promise you have more fun than you've had in a long time. But we're going to get in your face like, so you couldn't pick that shoe up yourself? Like, So anyway, I think they should. I would have done it. I would have done it in a minute. Especially if she wanted to do it. And I would hope she would support me if I decided I wanted to do it.
Right. And I think the issue really was that there has been conflict in the household.
Right.
Against her. So I think everyone's idea is like, I guess he's trying to protect her because it's like, you guys disrespect my wife. I mean, this is essentially what happened. So yeah. Okay, and then my last.
Let me say this before you go further. Yeah. Here's something you guys look. Here's conspiracy theory. The last time somebody from the outside come to the royal family.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually was the other side of it. Like, for instance, his mother, he knows what they did with it.
Yeah. It's like let me get her away because you know what I don't know. Now, and we don't know whether she was killed or we don't know anything.
Exactly.
So now he's kind of going, no, let me
protection. Sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
I agree with that. And my last question for you.
No.
Is. Now, we talked about all these amazing topics, and like I said, I'm probably going to repost the entire video and then clip it on Instagram, and on YouTube I'll probably put the full video. But basically, the last question is about online dating. So I get a lot of constant DMs about, which site, if you meet a nice guy, where did you go? Like, do you think online dating is, and a lot of us in my generation do feel that online dating is the main way for you to meet a lot of people. What is your opinion on online dating? Do you think you can find somebody real on online dating?
I have met people. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to remember the name of the couple that talked to me the other day, and he said we met online.
Okay.
They met online. It's kind of a mixed thing for me, but okay. So let me be mature for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't mind if I'm mature. Okay. So let me be mature. I know, really. What have you been doing? So the rational thought process is, as I'm growing up, that access wasn't there.
Right.
And so within that access wasn't there. And can I really say that I really met the person I would have met in Atlanta? Because a lot of times, somewhere in the neighborhood, and I have to ask my wife, somewhere in the neighborhood of 17% of all the people that stay in the city remain in that same city. They never go anywhere. So did you really meet the woman of your dreams? Or did you just, like I said, did you just have access? This is just, I'll take these options. So
right.
on that side, I'm believing that it's something that's good because it gives you the flexibility to kind of see more and compare more.
Okay.
On the other side, I believe I need to, next time your class, I need to give you the 7 things you need to know about how to date online. Because there are a lot less tragedies than there used to be.
Wait. So bad girl says all the men in my inbox are frauds. It's hilarious.
But now, bad girl, you got to call. I know why your men are frauds. I can tell you. I can tell you, bad girl. I can tell you. Call me. Call me. Hit me on inbox me. I can tell you. I can change all yours in 1 second. But I say that to say this. When as I was coming up, there were different accesses. I could go to church, I could go to the mall, I could go to school, I could go to college. But the key that became yours, no matter how you sliced it, out of the 5 billion people, you may meet 300 of them. And within that process, you have to realize that when you get an opportunity to meet millions of people, it could be a mixed bag. On one end, it could be too many people. On the other end, it could be the greatest thing ever. So I do think online dating has its place, and I think that it's an okay thing. I just think you need to be safe with it. I think you need to be safe, I think there's somehow, some way, maybe you and I need to figure out a way to come up with something that gives them a safe access. Or maybe Steve Harvey and I should come up with something and say, okay, here are all the guys that are available. Call us in.
Another safe access. I agree. Yeah, I do think that
online dating. That was an interesting question.
It's a constant question.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing. I would say probably at this point, 80% of my friends have probably met. Well, the people they're dating or have met are probably from online.
Facebook just did it now. Facebook has their own.
And Facebook, yeah. But Facebook, it's like they've been collecting our data for so long that it's like.
Right. They probably better than anybody. Okay, you want a tall guy with one.
Right. You've been looking. You like these pictures for X amount of years. We know who's gonna be. Yeah. I can see Facebook.
Let's say hi to Kevin.
Right. I can definitely. That, for sure. But I just wanted to say thank you for coming on. This was such an eye-opening conversation.
Right.
I know everyone that's going to look at this afterwards is going to replay it many times. And so I am so excited. I'm going to have to bring you on again because I know I'm going to get a lot of questions, more than I've been getting before.
I'm here for you.
It'll be great. And I know you also have, give me your plug. You also have a show. Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday. I do a Q&A on Instagram every Thursday at 8 o'clock, and that's no holds barred. Any questions you want to ask, I do a Q&A on Facebook.
Girls, get on Thursdays if you guys have any burning questions.
I've never shown this before.
What's that?
It's a book.
Wait. It's flipped, right? The words are flipped.
No, it's backwards. So that says The Art to Connection 2.0. So. You want to know more about it? That's it. I'm not even going to say anything else about it.
That's it. That's all you needed. That's all you needed to just a mirage.
On Thursday, Instagram, I'm trying to get my wife to do it, but my wife is like, she's like,
you have to get her on.
I'm trying.
You have to. Just for one. Even for one.
Well, I'm going to do one. I'm going to do one. So 9 to 9:30 on Facebook, I do a thing on the Higher Talk thing, and that's more about the perspective of religion. The 8:30 Thursday, and if you want to go to Cancun, let me know. It's not free. I'm not taking you to Cancun.
Yeah, people, it's a trip. You have to pay for it.
But just call them, hey, I want to go. Okay, good. You got money? Oh, money. Oh, no.
The money, the thing that,
I'm a millennial. I don't have money. Please.
Right? But yet, we are living our best life.
Right, but millennials are the richest generation right now. Millennials make more money because by capita, I think you guys are more. There's like every 10 or 100 of you have made it in some type of successful manner. So that's pretty good.
We are, but we also have student debt. Like that's like the biggest issue, actually.
Because
it's like
nobody taught you that all that money, all the stuff that you're making, how to apply it to things that grow.
That's actually going to be one of my shows this month.
Good, do that.
Because I have to learn that, and like helping people to understand that when you're even like I have younger brothers and they're finishing college, and I was like, you have to learn how to think about your career. You have to look at the industry. You have to look at like, what is the earning potential? Can they even give you that salary for you to pay off your debt? Like, if you can't, you shouldn't be in that industry. Exactly. So yeah,
right.
These conversations that we've never had, I just, it's things that most of us will learn on our own, which is why I think that's our biggest challenge right now is financial. A lot of us are in debt. So that brings up to why marriage is pushed. Exactly. Children are pushed. It's like everything development-wise pushes back. So it's like, got to deal with this stuff. We have to deal with it. But I wanted to, once again, thank you for this dialogue, this communication. I appreciate all your honesty and everything that you just brought to this table.
Thank you very much.
And we will definitely do this again.
Yes.
For everybody that's listening, thank you guys for joining and for answering questions and asking questions. I know you guys will probably DM me for any other questions that were not answered, and we can always, like I said, do this again.
We can. You have my email. You can even DM me. Just let me know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Get past the financial one. I want to hear what happens after that one.
Yeah. We will definitely get past that. That's definitely be a part of it. But thank you. Now I saw on your thing you're called Uncle D. Uncle, am I right?
Yes.
That's been a joke. I don't want no part of the joke.
That's the running joke. I was talking to the first thing, and impressive. I keep saying it wrong.
Yeah.
She goes, "This is my uncle," so now everybody calls me Uncle Dallas. I'm like, okay.